Take the risk or lose your spark. Today, it's probably the sunniest, hottest day of the entire summer. It's 94 degrees. I don't know if you guys can see that, but no one wants to be outside. Here I am at this park. Absolutely, I've probably seen like 3 people total. I've seen more dogs than people actually. And really what I want to talk about in this video is, you know, taking the risk as a creative, as a musician, as a human even. Because I feel like a lot of us aren't willing to be taking these risks in just today's society. And really today I want to answer the question of why is taking a risk so important in your life as a creative, and when is actually the right time to start? Because that's something people ask me all the time. You know, I have a really big dream. When do I start? And really something that ties in really well to this whole theme is my own story as an artist and as a musician. I've always been into music, you know, playing instruments since I was a kid. And really I started doing music, trying to take it more seriously as a sort of career around 6 years ago. But, you know, I was pretty lost. I've been doing music mostly for fun for the past few years, and you know, I knew I had to. People were telling me I should post content, people were telling me I should release songs consistently, people were telling me I should try to connect with other people, and you know, I tried all those things, but I didn't know what I was doing. And it was okay at the time, I was just starting out, but really so many months passed and so many years passed even, that it was just, I was getting nowhere. I was feeling really stuck, and I knew there were things I had to do, like those things that I said, you know, the things where people were telling me online that I had to do to grow as an artist. But I never got like a specific game plan of like the things I should be doing. And so for that reason, I always felt really stuck. And obviously, if I was feeling stuck, I wasn't feeling very confident in the stuff I was putting out there, with my music I was putting out there, with the content I was putting out there. Because my music, I'm gonna be honest, it wasn't there. It wasn't 100% there. You know, the quality was pretty low. And you know, it sounded like very much like a home recording. And with my content, there was getting no traction. You know, nobody was watching my videos. I remember, you know, I thought 3,000 followers I thought 3,000 views at the time was like a lot. I had a friend who was getting 3,000 views, and I thought that was insane. Now I know that's pretty low. But yeah, I was getting 200 views per video. Nobody was listening to my music. Nobody cared, you know, and I was just feeling really stuck. But I knew music was something I wanted to pursue full time, and you know, now I'm at that point. But if I really could say what was the turning point that, you know, changed my mindset and, you know, changed the outcome of where I was going with my music, is really when I started to invest in myself, in my career. Because previously I'd been the type of person to try to do everything for free, you know, to find free workarounds, trying to find the cheapest plugins, the cheapest, you know, sounds, the cheapest like ways to release music, right? And when I really sat down to think about, you know, that decision, I realized it wasn't getting me anywhere. And I thought to myself, you know, if I repeat the same actions every day and they're obviously not working, why would I keep doing them? Right? Like, if I was posting content that wasn't working, if I was releasing music that nobody cared about, you know, something had to change, right? But obviously, like I said, I was stuck. I didn't know what had to change. So what did I do? I found this creator I was really into at the time. He was posting a lot of music content, and you know, I just messaged him. I asked him like for tips, you know, on specific stuff I was struggling with, specifically with content. And yeah, he helped me out a little bit, gave me some specific ideas, and I was like I saw this actually worked. I can maybe like put it on screen here somewhere, but I was able to get my first like 2,000 view video the day after talking to him. And that was just a really big like change for me, because I realized, you know, there are people out there in that world that know everything I want to know and have already gone through everything I want to get through and are at the point I want to be in. So, you know, naturally my next idea was like asking this guy for like some more one-on-one help, because he answered my question in like Instagram DMs, but really I wanted something more structured. And so, you know, I got on a call with him. He was like telling me like, you know, he's starting up this new program where he's helping musicians, and I was like, you know, yeah, that sounds really interesting, let's do it. And he was like, oh yeah, by the way, it's $4K to join my program. And you know, as like at the time, as a teenager with like basically no money, that was insane to me. Like, that was an insane like price drop basically. And I was like, dude, there's no way I can do that, because right at the time I had like probably like, I'd been working a high school job for a year and a half. I had probably 3K in my bank account. And so hearing that's just like, first of all, it's not possible. Second of all, like, that's all my money. Like, I can't do this right now. I didn't know there'd be an investment related to it. And he was like, yeah man, no worries, you know, we can do like some sort of like a payment plan or something. And I was like, okay, yeah. But at this point, like, you know, now that he already mentioned the price, I was feeling really like hesitant. Like, is this something I even really want to do? And, you know, I told him I'd think about it, you know, and a few days passed, and I saw a testimonial he posted the next day where it was one of his students who made $5,000 in a single month from making music. And at the time I was making no money from music, by the way. I'd probably made $3 off of Spotify, you know, streams at that point. And just seeing that, and, you know, the guy's music, you know, it was good, but it wasn't out of this world. I had the belief that you had to make incredible music to be able to actually make it as an artist, as a musician. And so seeing like all of my previous, like what they call a limiting belief, right? Seeing that shattered just like completely blew my mind, because it was like, this guy is in the exact position I want to be in, and he's helping people that are in my position getting to his position, right? If that makes sense. And so really that blew my mind. And it was like, you know, that was the moment where everything changed for me, and I realized that, you know, this is what I have to do. This is the thing I have to invest in. And so, you know, I took all my money and I invested it in that program. And, you know, here I am today. I've learned all the skills I need now to, you know, help other artists do the same. It was a huge financial step and a mental step too, because really, if you want to make it in any sort of industry, in any sort of field, you have to be willing not to have like just a financial commitment to do it, but also the mental. There has to be a really big mental shift, because wouldn't you agree that, let's say you're an artist starting from zero right now, and you want to get to a certain amount of monthly listeners, or you want to build a fan base or something like that. Wouldn't you agree that, you know, getting from where you are right now to wherever you want to be, that's a big step, right? And so what I thought to myself is like, yeah, that's a huge step. But, you know, so is the investment. And so seeing that kind of mindset shift, that like, you know, I'm only going to get out of it what I put into it kind of mindset, that kind of mindset, that's really when it clicked for me. And so, you know, I was like, you know, let's do it. Here's the money. Let's get started. And that's really when things started changing for me, not just in music. The biggest thing I wanted to say, this is just as a side note, the biggest thing that changed for me outside of music was just the mindset shift. You know, I'm the type of person, I would have never come out here today on a hot day just to record a random video if, you know, if there was no incentive to do it. There's no incentive for me to do this. This is something I'm doing for fun, right? I would have never done, I probably would have been at home, you know, scrolling, you know. And so the biggest mindset shift once you start investing in yourself as a musician is that, you know, you start to see everything differently, right? Like, even just like right now, I'm here at this like beautiful park, right? Me from a few years ago, I would have just like taken a few pictures and left, right? But now I really just, after I record this video, I'm just gonna sit down and just watch this because it's beautiful. So yeah, that's kind of all I want to talk about in this video. How, you know, taking a risk as a musician can change your whole life and your whole outlook on everything that you do, not just music. So yeah, if you have any questions or you want to send me a message, feel free to leave it in the comments below, or send me a message on Instagram. I'm always on there posting similar content to this, but just short form. So just, yeah, send me a message if you're interested. And yeah, see you in the next one.